Here we are once more, ready to look at more anime airing this season. I'm at a point where I've run out of things to say in these intros, so I'm just going to say straight to it. I'm going to look at 4 shows, let me know what you think of them, I'll let you know what I think of them, and be sure to watch them to the end, because that's what I asked you to do. Because this is a 2023 autumn anime preview, from a different perspective. First up today, we have BULLBUSTER, a sort of mecha anime about a bunch of pest exterminators exterminating pests on a random Japanese island. This one does it in a very much more matter-of-fact corporate style manner. And I say corporate, I mean tiny Japanese corporate. You know those little Japanese companies you see in anime with like 5 or 6 members of staff and that's it? It's one of those. And when I say pests, I'm about giant, big-ass, size of cars and trucks pests. Still pests, but pests which need heavy extermination. As such, an entire industry has come about of building effectively giant mechs to exterminate these pests. And Hato Industries has just hired a brand new mechanic, Tetsuro, to bring along his new developed mech, the BULLBUSTER. We're introduced to the main characters this episode. We're introduced to Tetsuro, the pilot and designer of BULLBUSTER, Koji Tajima, the president of a company, Ginosuke and Arami, the hot-blooded pilots and mechanics, Miyuki, the secretary, who is oh so sweet, and Kintaro, the tight-pursed guy who controls everything by controlling the spending. The premise and setup of this one reminds me a lot of the classic anime Planetes, with a whole little company, shoddy corporate affairs, realistic but spectacular setting anime. And a lot of the humour and goings on reminds me of that as well. We don't have an Itanabe and we don't have the destruction of a planet at our disposal here. But I suppose with the size of these pests, the destruction of a planet is very much a risk. Because if they get out of control, they can destroy whole neighbourhoods, whole cities. Now, this is not an anime which I really knew much about. In fact, I kept going into it. I kept seeing the word BULLBUSTER and thinking BULLBUSTER. That would be a completely different anime. But BULLBUSTER is very much an anime about low-level, realistic-looking mechs. Realistic in the design sense. Obviously, we wouldn't have anything like that in our day and age, but you can imagine somebody developing that in the not too distant future. And a ragtag bunch of misfits coming together to work out their corporate affairs. There's something appealing about the idea of BULLBUSTER as an anime. It's not brilliant, but I might watch another episode or 2 if I've got time. If you do want to watch BULLBUSTER, it's airing over at Crunchyroll. Next up today, we've got Under Ninja, the most mundane ninja anime I've seen in a long time. You see, unlike most ninja anime, which have the ninjas in brightly coloured clothes running armoured behind them, are doing stylistic finger gestures every 3-5 seconds to get the anime stuff done, Under Ninja is very much about the underbelly of a ninja world, if that world was just normal life and everybody you meet and run into is a ninja. First episode does point out that if you throw a stone you're going to hit a ninja, and in this anime it does seem that way, as pretty much every character except the drunkard downstairs is a ninja. And they are very much matter of fact about it as well, and very much dull in what they're talking about. I mean, there's one moment where main character Kuro has to readjust himself because his dick's in a weird place. And he does so in a weird way, and that just stuck with me for some reason. They go out fighting another bunch of ninjas dressed as Gangura gals on top of another building. We get to see a flashback of some Americans, I'm assuming American soldiers, attacking a building, only to find that building's already been attacked by a ninja. A random American ninja looking for a job in a Japanese job centre. Obviously, I have no idea what's going on. Everybody seems to be a ninja, and there's not really much interest going on here. It's presented in the most boringly dull manner possible. I mean, if you could ever make ninjas dull, then Under Ninja definitely does that. It's not one which appeals to me in general because of ninjas, but also because of how dull and boring it is. This is going to have a fan base, the type of fan base which likes this type of anime. But I'm not that fan base, and I can't recommend it, unless you are. This one's also on Crunchyroll. Next up today, we've got our dating story, The Experienced You and The Inexperienced Me. An anime which wears its title on its sleeve like a lot of anime do these days. Our main character Yuto is a normal geeky nobody in school. Nobody's really his friend, nobody's really his enemy, he just sits around not really gaining too much attention. Main heroine is Runa Shirakawa, who is the idol of a class, everybody's darling. Blonde bombshell, she's got the popular gal style fashion, bunch of friends, friendly to everybody, bit airheaded, and rumours about that she gets a new boyfriend every 3 months because she's happy to put out for him quite easily. She's the easy girl, and yes, you pretty much have already seen this anime before, because what you think is going to happen, happens. For one thing or another, he gets dead into asking out Runa, who he doesn't find attractive. He has a bit of a one-sided crush on her. He gets dead into asking him out by his 2 friends. I say friends were like loosest form of a word. Not quite as bad as some best friends in this anime, but they're not far off. And wouldn't you know it, Runa says, sure, you like me, so I don't see why not. Let's go out. I don't have a boyfriend right now, so let's become boyfriend and girlfriend. And proceeds to invite her round to her house. In a roundabout way that he doesn't realise what's going on until he's pretty much outside her bedroom, about to go in, and go sneaking into her underwear drawer, which, to be fair, she has left open, and when she finds him doing so, she doesn't really freak out, she just gets out a camisole and shows him how cute it is. Runa is very much open with boys, and is very much willing to put out, as evidenced by the next thing which happens, as she starts undressing, saying, okay, we're here, we're gonna have sex, aren't we? Yuto, being a geek and being a main character of an anime, obviously says no, because if you're in the room of the most attractive girl in school and she invites you to have sex with her, you say no. That's what anime's taught us, and anime is never wrong, it never does something weird. And so here we go with yet another geek meets pixie dream girl, perfect girlfriend, and spends the entire series not actually making any headway with her. At some point, somebody else is going to try and steal her from him, but she's going to get all loyal. She's not actually a slut, she's just misunderstood. She does put out for everybody, but that's because that's how she feels like it should be. And Ryoto's the first person to actually say no to her. I could pretty much write the entirety of this series just from the first episode. Don't get me wrong, there have been plenty of shows which have got this premise which are good. And this one does show glimmers of that every so often, but I've seen this one before. Tell me another story, please. The title doesn't instill confidence, but I might give this one an episode or 2 more based on how busy I am. Spoiler alert, I'm pretty busy this season, so I probably won't. If you do want to watch Inexperienced Me and Me Experienced You, or however what it's called, you can find it airing over at Crunchyroll. Here it is, The Kingdoms of Ruin, our bloody death festival anime of a season. Very attractive looking anime, showing us a world of witches. Again, witches are much more long lived and much more powerful than humans, but humans have become technologically advanced and has become able to defeat witches and even steal their magic. As such, the Emperor of a Kingdom decides one day that he's had enough and is going to outlaw all witches and kill them, in the most violent and bloody way possible, in front of a jeering crowd of people just cheering him on. Give this is execution for a TikTok generation, guys, as everybody's got their smartphones out, filming the thing going on, thinking, oh yeah, I like some of that bloody execution. Our main character, Adonis, is just a human who has a power of magic based on his teacher Chloe, who is a witch. Chloe gets brutally murdered in front of him, effectively killing his mother figure in front of him, and then locking him up for 10 years in a high security isolation cell. Our other main character, Doaka, pink-haired airhead, who is being held prisoner for some reason, with a bunch of other people who are being repressed. Instead of crying, help, help, I'm being oppressed, decides to voluntarily sacrifice herself to help a friend, even though her friend's probably going to be the next one to be called since her number's next. And upon seeing what future she has in store for her, basically a future of rape and servitude, she decides to bite the finger of the guard who tries to rape her, run away, perfectly mirror his voice out of no skill whatsoever, and unlock all the cells in the prison. This is a very high security prison, yet a single voice command can unlock all the cells, including her high isolation cells. Yep, you can probably guess how episode 2 is going to go. I've not seen it, I don't plan on watching it, but Adonis is about to go on a murder spree, murdering loads of guards while rescuing all the commoners. and then we're going to have a war between the elite Empire people and the witches and the commoners, and it's going to be a bloody bloodfest and everybody's going to get bloody. This is not one for me. The characters looked attractive. At first glance, Chloe was a fun, happy-go-lucky character. Sadly, about to kill in my first episode, which got rid of any interest I had in this anime. This one's not an anime for me. Again, I'm not a huge fan of violent anime, so your mileage may vary on this one, but there's nothing really that appealing about this for me. If you want to watch it, you can find it airing over at Crunchyroll. That was BULLBUSTER, Under Ninja, our dating story, the experienced you and the inexperienced me, and the Kingdoms of Ruin. 4 new shows of interesting quality, which I've looked at today. Which shows are you interested in watching? And you're going to join me next time to preview 4 more new shows. And so until then, bye bye.